Today we talk finance, youth involvement to create solutions and also preventative measures against substance abuse. All that and more on Jamaica Magazine. Hello, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Let's get the show rolling.
The Ministry of Science and Technology, the National Commission on Science and Technology, and the Scientific Research Council on November 21 celebrate the men and women at the forefront of scientific innovation at the Biennial Awards ceremony. These remarkable nominees have excelled in the fields of agriculture, food and agro-processing, education and popularization, engineering and manufacturing, energy, entertainment product, environmental sustainability, health and safety, and youth innovators, all in an effort to promote national growth. The National Innovation Awards 2018, celebrating excellence in science, technology, and innovation.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Thursday, November 15. Jamaica's capacity to secure its borders has been strengthened with the acquisition of a new surveillance aircraft. Prime Minister and Minister of Defense Andrew Holness commissioned the Maritime Patrol aircraft on Wednesday. He also commissioned 2 helicopters and a new hangar for use by the Jamaica Defense Force. According to the Prime Minister, this is the single largest investment made in the area of security and demonstrates the government's commitment to securing Jamaica.
So what we're doing here today is ensuring that we make an investment in securing our borders, increasing our domain awareness, not just because it sounds great, but because it will have a practical effect for the man on the street in Jamaica. You will see crime going down in your communities as a result of this investment. But more than that, it also signals Jamaica's intention to do more with our blue economy.
The JDF's Chief of Defense Staff, Major General Rocky Meade, says the aircrafts will allow for increased monitoring and response, as well as forging partnerships with countries in the region.
These new air capabilities, working in tandem with our surface vessels, will improve the JDF's maritime domain awareness and prevent the use of our maritime space for the trafficking of illicit weapons, drugs, and other illicit activities such as illegal fishing. They will also support other activities including search and rescue and internal security operations.
The House of Representatives has passed additional amendments to the Road Traffic Bill, establishing new offenses and increased penalties for breaches. The 5 amendments piloted by Transport Minister Robert Montego are in addition to the more than 160 approved by the Senate earlier this year. The legislation will now go back to the Upper House for its approval. Pointing to one case of a motorcycle crash, which resulted in a health bill of over $17 million, Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton welcomed the legislation, which he said could significantly reduce the burden road crashes place on the public health system.
Too many of our Jamaicans just do not observe the laws, and as a consequence, most of these accidents are caused by human error of one kind or the other. And so I really want to say that one of the things that we're going to have to do once we move this process forward, which I fully support, is focus heavily on the enforcement side, Mr. Speaker.
Among the new offenses is a $20,000 fine for driving without the required motor vehicle insurance coverage and a $40,000 fine for driving a motor vehicle without being the holder of a permit or driver's license. Drivers who fail to obey the traffic light will pay $24,000, while loud noises within silence zones and failure to wear a protective helmet are $5,000 offenses. It is a $10,000 offense for failing to comply with traffic signs, $12,000 in the case of a failure to stop at pedestrian crossings. Opposition spokesperson on finance Mark Golding gave his support to the act, in particular the provision that makes certain ticketable offenses a criminal liability for not just the driver, but also the owner of the vehicle.
This is a novelty, or certainly an innovation in our law in relation to road traffic. It is an important step towards greater accountability for how drivers behave on the road.
The Transport Minister, meanwhile, assured the House that more CCTV cameras would be installed at major intersections for electronic monitoring of the traffic environment.
And the Ministry of National Security, I am very positive. They are rolling out hundreds of new cameras within the next 3 to 4 months across other towns in the country. And the NWA, through private partnerships, are moving to get traffic cameras separate from the normal CCTV cameras at intersection, but specific traffic cameras to do speed, to the lane change, and stoplight violations.
Minister Montego says the regulations to accompany the bill are being drafted and will be finalized after both houses of Parliament have approved the latest amendments. The existing Road Traffic Act will remain in force until all legal processes for the new law are settled. With the opening of another business process outsourcing BPO company, the government has committed to training more persons for job opportunities in that sector. This will be facilitated through the Heart Trust NTA and the Housing Opportunity, Production and Employment HOPE program. Prime Minister Andrew Holness gave that assurance during Tuesday's official launch of KPMG in Jamaica's nearshore knowledge outsourcing facility called KPMG Jamaica Extended Support Services.
The government of Jamaica stands in support of business process outsourcing, and we will make the necessary investments to ensure that there is the flow of human resources to support the continued development and expansion of that industry.
With approximately 30,000 persons employed locally in the sector, Mr. Holness says he believes the potential is there to employ 10 times that number with good quality jobs.
It can also create high-paying jobs. It can create career opportunities, jobs with a long life cycle, where you can start at one level and spend your lifetime in it, ending at a significantly higher level, where a career path is established.
4 females under the first phase of the Women's Entrepreneurship Support Project have received grant funding of $250,000 each to enhance their businesses. The project was launched through the signing of a Memorandum of Understanding last November by the Gender and Industry Ministries. The Women's Entrepreneurship Program will include 3 cohorts of recipients over a 3-year period. Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport Olivia Grange and Industry Minister Audley Shaw have both urged this first set of recipients to make effective use of the funding.
Funding that you will get today is not just for you to run your business on your own, but for you to get the necessary capacity building through the JBDC in using those funds effectively.
We hope to gradually expand this initiative in the coming years, bringing more women entrepreneurs into the fold. We therefore welcome the hosting of this press briefing, signaling a tangible project coming out of the MOU, and look forward to continued collaboration between our ministries as we roll out the subsequent phases.
And finally, the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information, through its Youth and Adolescents Policy Division, will for the first time in 5 years have an election for the National Youth Council. The news was revealed by State Minister Floyd Green during the recent launch of Youth Month at Victoria Pier, Ocean Boulevard.
The Youth Council is the governing body for youth clubs across Jamaica. It has been non-functional for the past 5 years. As most of you know, most of our clubs have not been functioning. So we have been on a drive to get our clubs back up and running because, again, young people want a sense of association. They want a sense of belonging. They want things to do. They want to go in spaces where they feel important. For a lot of us, the youth club was that space for us.
The minister also revealed that the website, nationalyouthcounciljamaica.com, will be launched to provide information for youth clubs and will later be available as an app. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
Jamaica Eye is part of an island-wide network of camera surveillance systems designed to increase the safety of you, our citizens. If you have a camera system outside your home or office facing a public space, join us in helping to make Jamaica a safer place for all. Log on to jamaicai.gov.jm today. Jamaica Eye, we're all connected. The Ministry of National Security, creating a safer and prosperous Jamaica.
The government's financial inclusion program has been reaping success. Among them are improved access to finance for micro, small and medium-sized enterprises, MSMEs, as well as protection for consumers using financial institutions. Here's more.
Hello and welcome to Finance Matters, a production of the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service. I'm your host, Daniel Pasley, and with me is National Financial Inclusion Coordinator, Ms. Melanie Williams. Hi, Melanie.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So over the last 2 weeks, we've been talking about financial inclusion.
Right.
But I'm curious, I want to know a little bit more about the successes of financial inclusion. So could you tell us a little bit more about that?
So the main successes we've had so far to date have to do with the increased capacity of our public sector entities, as well as the engagement with the public in terms of finding out their needs and delivering policies on consumer protection. Also, work has been advancing quite nicely under the MSME finance thematic area. And we've also
When you talk about thematic area, what are you talking about?
So, you remember the pillars? We had some discussion on that. What you have under each pillar are a number of thematic areas: consumer protection, retail payments, and MSME finance. We have found that with the leadership of the Development Bank of Jamaica and working alongside the Ministry of Industry, Commerce, Agriculture and Fisheries, there have been gains towards actually creating policies that would seek to improve access to finance and also seek to empower the institutional capacity of micro, small and medium-sized entrepreneurs. We've also had successes in terms of the percentage of the Jamaican adult population which benefit from coverage from our credit bureaus, which have now been very active in this space. We see increased participation of credit information providers, that is creditors, persons who advance finance or credit to the industry. You see gains in that space. We've also had gains being made in terms of developing the concepts around consumer protection for the users of banks.
So let us talk about the Financial Inclusion Conference. I know that you recently staged the second staging of the event at the Terra Nova Hotel in July.
Yes.
How was that experience?
It was fantastic because we brought financial inclusion in the language of everyday Jamaicans without all of the jargon associated with the typical financial sector or the legal sector. And so we had the benefit under the guidance of the Minister of Finance, the Honorable Dr. Nigel Clark. He had actually directed that we needed to change our message so that we would have maximum impact, and we had that through the creation of an animated piece. And we also had a play that was developed, again, in keeping with the theme of empowering Jamaicans and improving their ability to get the information they would need and get the finance that they would need to expand their business. We've had the benefit of having 3 young millennials, and that's Mr. Theodore Henry, Mr. Mark Scott, and Mr. Shauna Mullings. And all 3 exemplify the qualities of what we find to be best about being Jamaican: adaptable, agile in their thinking, creative, problem solvers, good communicators, as well as persons that are relatable. You understand their stories, and without stealing too much of their thunder, because we are in the process of actually developing an avenue for each of our ambassadors to engage with the public. They are going to really be inspirational to understanding what is possible, changing the mentality, and actually bringing, in keeping with our economic thrust in terms of the growth we've been experiencing recently, really showing Jamaicans that it is possible to get the information you need, to be dynamic, to create your own business, and to implement it and be a success. To take what may have been an adversity to you in childhood and actually make that the linchpin of a successful business. So that's all I will say about our ambassadors, but watch this space. I'm sure you're going to be quite pleased with the messages that they put out there.
So 30 seconds, tell us, what are the next steps?
The next steps we would like to see would be the increase of resource allocation to the partners that are part of the financial inclusion movement, if you will. The next steps would be to have a road show whereby we take our animated piece and our play out beyond Kingston, because Kingston and St. Andrew, those aren't the totality of Jamaica.
Right.
Each experience in each area of Jamaica is unique. And we also want to have greater segmentation, if you will, in terms of our enterprises and engagement with them.
Thank you, Melanie, for sharing about this broad topic, financial inclusion. I indeed learned a lot, and I'm sure that our viewers learned a lot also.
Grateful. Thank you so much for having me.
So on behalf of the hard-working team here, I thank you so much for watching Finance Matters.
Nobody want to plant the corn. Everybody want to read the band. Who you are go blame it on when it's a next man you are deep in pan. Well, you're wrong.
Farmers, let us be serious about predial larceny. It is affecting all of us. If you are aware of incidents of predial larceny, make contact with your local police station or call Crime Stop at 311. Predial larceny is everybody's business.
Me want to take it all. No mind if me stall. Them no business if me back against the wall. This a living sometime making me ball. Seems like there ain't no love after.
The next generation, finding solution to today's problem. For example, this wastewater treatment prototype built by a few engineering students. It's part of the answer to treat with drought and water shortage in the agriculture sector.
I'm studying general agriculture. I want to be a veterinarian.
Bioengineer. I want to manage my own agricultural business.
They are the future of the agriculture sector and are working towards making a significant impact.
You have certain crops in Jamaica that are being depleted. I would like to re-engineer those crops and bring them back into the world. I'm planning to do something similar to this, or if I can fine-tune the same thing and rename it into a brand that I can offer to the economy, I want to do this.
This is the KISA model, a project that highlights an approach that can be taken by farmers to treat recycled water on their farms to irrigate field crops.
The main purpose of this layout right here is to have an environment where we try to have less economic problems, try to build up a system that is economically and environmentally friendly.
The idea and design came out of a need to implement such a system on the grounds of their Hanover-based agricultural school. The Nakalva students also believe that the KISA model will be able to sustain farmers through periods of low rainfall and drought. Here's how it will work. Say you are a pig farmer. Each time you wash the pig pen, that water can be channeled to various treatment points. The water, along with the waste substance, will then pass through a biodigester, allowing you to produce your own energy for your farm as well as manure.
In the biogas digester, anaerobic bacteria breaks down or digests the material and releases a gas known as methane gas. This methane gas is then sent to the control station where our generator converts this gas into energy and is used up on the farm on a day-to-day basis. So after the biogas digester, the solid part of the material is sent to the drying bed. In the drying bed, it is left open where it can be dried completely. After it is dried, the material is then used back in our outfield and our greenhouse as organic material or manure.
Following that is the water treatment process. The liquid from the drying pond is sent to the anaerobic pond, which is the first stage of treatment.
In this pond, there's a substance known as BOD. BOD is biological chemical oxygen demand. This is the amount of oxygen that bacteria requires to break down organic matter. It is reduced by 85% in the anaerobic pond And in the second pond, which is the facultative pond, it is reduced by 95%. In the facultative pond, algae is present to add additional oxygen to the water by photosynthesis. And doing this, the algae also removes nitrates and phosphate, therefore purifying the water a little further.
From here, water moves to maturation ponds 1 and 2. This process is to move coliform bacteria.
Anaerobic respiration occurs at the bottom of the pond. The main purpose is to reduce pathogens like bacteria, viruses, E. coli, and no chlorine. Then it will travel in a channel to storage pond, where the water stays there.
This storage pond will also facilitate rainwater harvesting.
This harvested water is used to lower the pH of the water stored in the storage pond, and it is also used to spread out the level of pathogen in the water. This is done because there is a recommended level of pathogen per liter in the water, and doing this will reduce the amount of concentration of pathogen in that specific liter. After the treatment of the water, it is then sent to the control station where the generator and pump is activated, and it is dispersed into our outfields and in our greenhouse irrigation system.
So I believe that this is one of the best ideas that all Jamaican farmers should partake in. Not only that it is very beneficial to our economy, it is also beneficial to your pockets. To get this started, it is not really an easy process, but over a period of time you'll realize that because you are creating your own energy, you don't have to go ahead and buy water, because you're the one reusing, recycling your water, you're the one harvesting your water, you're the one treating it, so you don't have to pay to do all of those processes.
The youth continue to take center stage. Up next, why substance abuse should be avoided at all cost. Cancer is usually the first thing that comes to mind when talking about the effects of smoking. But the fact is, cancer is just one of several harmful effects to the body. And if you look at the bigger picture, you will see that smoking affects the body from head to toe. This information was part of the message being shared with close to 500 students who were at the Jamaica Cancer Society's Anti-Tobacco Youth Forum. The main message?
We want to say to you this morning, don't be fooled. Cigarette has an agent in it, nicotine. It's highly addictive, and once you start, it's going to be difficult for you to stop.
Quoting from statistics out of the United States, Dr. Foster said smoking-related illnesses killed more people per year than AIDS, fires, road crashes, murders, suicide, and alcohol combined. Her presentation had the attention of the students, and she continued by telling them that persons who smoke usually experimented with either things like alcohol or drugs.
And then you're addicted, and then you're dying to quit. When we say you're dying to quit, we're not speaking about it in the figurative sense, we're talking about it in the literal sense, in that the longer you take to quit, the more likely you're going to die from the effects of cigarette smoking. Every cigarette smoke reduces life by 11 minutes. Think about it. Every carton reduces life by a day and a half. Every year a person smokes a pack a day, his life is shortened by about 2 months. And the years of life expectancy of a typical smoker is 25 years. So you lose about 25 years if you spend your life smoking.
The sixth staging of the Jamaica Cancer Society Anti-Tobacco Youth Forum was held under the theme #MakeWeTalk. It focused on areas such as risky behaviors among adolescents and empowering young adults. The event included video and audio-visual presentations and talks from representatives of the Ministry of Health, National Chest Hospital, National Council on Drug Abuse, NCDA, Heart Foundation of Jamaica, and the Association of General Practitioners.
What we're doing is giving the information at this point that all form of smoking and vaping is dangerous, especially to developing body and developing mind.
And whereas students believed that smoking hookah or electronic cigarette was much safer, Substance Abuse Officer at the NCDA, Daniel Brown, raised the red flag.
Did you know you can get an STI from smoking a hookah? No. Understand this. The mouthpiece, what is down the bottom, because you do what? You share it. They move from mouth to mouth to mouth. So if the person has an STI, what you do with it? You pass it along. All right? Did you know when you sit down in a session for about 20 minutes or 30 minutes smoking a hookah is equal equivalent to smoking about 100 cigarettes or more one time?
A research done by the NCDA in 2010 showed that Jamaican youth begin smoking as early as 13 years of age. The data also showed that at least 44.4% of students have smoked at least once, 31.3% smoked a tobacco product, and 20.2% have smoked cigarettes.
Teen smokers have a harder time competing in sports, right? They're more likely to get sick from colds and flus. They're not going to be able to perform at your maximum and achieve the best from your schooling and your education. We know that within minutes of a person smoking a cigarette, it affects their heart rate goes up, they get constriction in their blood vessels, even their lungs, they get tightening of their airway and increased production of mucus.
After hearing these important presentations, we spoke with a few of the students and one teacher to get their reactions.
It has helped me a lot, to understand the importance of drugs and substance abuse.
We really need to enforce this in the schools more, and to have students like myself notified more about that it's not good for the body, and that we need to be more serious about it and to say no when we have friends that are pressuring us to do such bad things.
What I learned is that smoking, it can damage the brain.
I believe that this is a good initiative by the Jamaica Cancer Society to make students aware of drugs, and we're not naive that some students are smoking, and by bringing the information to them, that it will deter some of them, and also they will take it back to their peers as to why they shouldn't smoke also.
I think more students will be more aware, and the more awareness we get, it is the more students are able to make better decisions, which will impact Jamaica.
The impact hopefully includes less youth being involved in tobacco or drug usage, more students empowered to focus on their studies, and a generation that will spread the message of the dangers of tobacco.
The item of the future. Drugs and everything that is negative will take away from Jamaica's rich future, which is embedded within the item. If uno no rise, then Jamaica is doomed to fail. Say we love Jamaica. Say no, we're no better than Jamaica. Yeah. Our island paradise, real Jamaican pride.
As we close today's show, we ask that you stay connected via our website, jis.gov.jm. And while you're online, send your feedback to Jamaica Magazine at jis.gov.jm or via tweet at JIS News. On behalf of the entire production crew, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Thanks for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.